folks, welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch. Yes, I'm on the really extra bumpy road today. This road's normally bumpy, as many of you know if you watch my channel every once in a while. It's excessively rough today because they still haven't graded it from the flooding we had a week ago. So it's very rough. You'll just have to accept it and deal with it, or not watch the channel. I mean, if that kind of stuff triggers you too much, then I don't know what to tell you when things get even worse in the world, which they do appear to be getting that way. I know it seemed like for a week now that things were cooling off, and you know, the whole world was going to come together in kumbaya and peace and harmony and happiness. But I think there's definitely some players out there that aren't having that. Russia reportedly has sailed one of its hypersonic missile ships, naval ships, through the English Channel, doing some maneuvers, training, which certainly has the European Union, NATO, Europe, England, all of them upset. They're quite certain, some of the rhetoric coming out of NATO lately, that Russia's alliances with China and Iran and North Korea are very dangerous, and that they're leading down a path that they believe that Russia is going to expand its war with Ukraine into the rest of Europe. Israel, like I said this morning, has been retaliating against Lebanon, against Hezbollah. I don't know that there's a whole lot of distinction there between the two, but there is some. And they've struck several targets inside Lebanon, some warehouses that were Hezbollah's, probably holding their missiles and bombs and all that, rockets and stuff. So things there are continuing to expand, continuing to heat up. And remember that and I know that Donald Trump has said he doesn't want to start any new wars. And I guess, you know, if you want to be really technical, the conflict with Israel and Hezbollah and Hamas and Iran, it's not something they'd be starting. It's something that already exists. And he has said things on the campaign trail that he would seem to be okay with a greater expansion to some extent there, at least indicating that. And the other day, like I said, Benjamin Netanyahu stated that he and Donald Trump see eye to eye on how to deal with Iran. So I don't really think that whole situation has completely gone away just because Donald Trump got elected. Iran says that they're still planning to retaliate. We all forgot about that, right? Remember? Iran was going to retaliate against Israel because Israel retaliated against Iran, and Israel was going to retaliate against Iran for a second time. I've lost track, but apparently it's still being planned that Iran is going to retaliate against Israel, and Israel is going to strike against Iran. Israel's going to strike against Iran because they attempted to assassinate Benjamin Netanyahu. Iran's going to strike against Israel because of retaliate against you probably aren't following me, and that's all right. I don't follow myself either when it gets to this point, because it's back and forth. But the point is that it's still on the table. Now, it has been reported that Donald Trump has spoken with Vladimir Putin, requesting that he not escalate things with Ukraine. And maybe that will happen, but that doesn't mean that Ukraine doesn't escalate things with Putin. And I mean, you know, if he's defending himself, you know, they got to do what they got to do, I guess. So things are still heated there. Zelensky, I suspect, and this is all based on just what we're hearing on the official news sources, that, you know, it looks like he's going to get cut off. He's not very happy about it. And so would Zelensky do something, or NATO do something big before Donald Trump gets into power, to kind of bring NATO into the fight? Because the rumor mill is that Donald Trump and his administration is wanting to create a buffer zone between Ukraine and Russia, which means Ukraine would have to give up some of its territory. I don't know. I mean, I'm just telling you what's out there. May not be true. Half the stuff that's out there probably isn't. Also, a little update on that H5N1 case up in Canada. That one seems to be more concerning than most of these other cases that's happened here in the United States, because most of the cases in the United States, there was some connection to farming. You know, the people that's gotten it, they were able to connect them to, you know, they worked on a poultry plant or a farm or, you know, dairy farm or something like that. This is a teenager that, as of yet, they have not been able to connect the teenager to any type of, you know, farming or birds or anything like that, and they're saying that the teenager is in very critical condition. I don't know. I mean, could there be another global pandemic, you know, COVID part 2? I don't know. But when you see all the stuff that's happened leading up to where we're at today, does anyone doubt, or does anyone think that there's no possibility of these things happening? Do you think that the far left and the globalists and the Marxists and everything are just going to turn the reins over to some, you know, free market capitalist conservative, you know, quotations on all those, and just let him run things? I don't think so. And if that were to happen, to me, that's even more suspicious. That would be more suspicious of, like, wait a minute, so they just gave up that easily? Something fishy's going on. Maybe Donald Trump is part of the all the big cabal stuff. I'm not saying, I'm just throwing that out there, right? Also, one last thing. The Republican Party is now in control, or will be in control, of the White House, the Senate, and the House, and conservatives hold a majority in the Supreme Court. So the way it looks right now is the Republicans are in control of all the government, which doesn't happen very often. And while I have zero faith in the Republican Party of being able to actually pull it together and do anything that's really worthwhile, this may be their last chance to prove that they can actually, you know, govern. And not just govern conservatively, but just govern in any way, because while the GOP certainly isn't as radical in any way as the Democrats, at least the Democrats get stuff done. I mean, it's horrible what they get done, but they at least get stuff done. The GOP has a real bad reputation of, when they're in power, they don't really get a lot done. And so, at least it looks like for the next 2 years, if they don't get on the ball and actually reverse things and pass some good, solid constitutional legislation, then I can't imagine anyone after that really having any support for them and buying into this. Well, we're the lesser of two evils. Really? Are you? If you're all in power and you don't do anything. So we'll see. I know I'm kind of a doubting Thomas for a lot of people, but hey, it's based on the history with them. Ooh, that's a big bump there. They don't have a good track record. I'm not talking about any particular people like, say, Donald Trump or anything like that. I'm just saying the party doesn't have a good track record. But they are now in complete control, or will be, after the first of the year. They will be in complete control of the government. So if you happen to be a, you know, politician that's watching this channel, I doubt it, but hey, better get your act together. Better get your act together and actually put out some good legislation, and do the right thing for once, and stop this bickering around. Some of the people that Donald Trump has announced that he will be appointing in positions seem to be pretty good. There's several others, though, that look like big old rhino deep staters. So we'll see. not over yet. You know that, right? I mean, the battle isn't won, or certainly not the war. It can't just happen that easily. There's still a lot of stuff to be had and be done. And I would say between pandemics, between possible wars, and the big one, economic problems, we still have a real bumpy road, probably worse than the one that I'm driving on right now, to get to. And so we need to continue to prepare. You got to keep doing it. Don't give up by any means. If you don't believe the things that I say, and I'm not saying what I'm saying is as 100% factual true. I mean, it's as true as I know it to be. But it's also laced with my opinions. But my opinions are strongly based on what I read in Scripture. And based on what I read in Scripture, we still got a rough road ahead of us, folks. And we need to be prepared for that, because as bad as we want to say the last 4 years have been, I'd say it's pretty much nothing compared to what's still yet to come. I don't know the timeline, but we have to be ready for that. Get your houses in order, folks. Get preparing yourselves. Keep preparing yourselves mentally, physically, and spiritually. It's not time to give up. It's not time to go back to bed. It's not time to fall asleep. Stay awake and alert. And be ready. Thank you all for watching. Catch you in the next video.